Start the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons. See, we at Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons have been doing regular webinars. See, most of it are on pure subject assets. One major topic that we dealt with this year, after Dr. Sai Kumar took over as the president of KSOS, was on the training opportunities, cataract surgery training opportunities in different institutions across India. So we did this program with about 24 eye institutions across India. I actually asked them, each institution, the representatives from each institution as to the duration of the program, what the stipend they give. And I specifically asked some as to if they give any allowances to women ophthalmologists also. Because, see, as you all know, you can't actually, ophthalmology today doesn't end with MD or MS. Until and unless you do a fellowship, you can't reach the top. So there are problems that the young women face. So this program on how to overcome these problems, giving an advice to them. So I thought what would be the best would be for these youngsters to listen to the success stories. So that is how we planned this program. And I'm Dr. Sreeni Edakhlon, chairman of Scientific Committee of Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons. When I put this idea to Dr. Mohita Sharma, so she was very kind enough to agree for the Women Ophthalmologist Society WOS to join hands with the Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons for this program. Thanks a lot, Dr. Mohita and WOS for this. We are grateful to you. And see, Dr. Mohita, she's the General Secretary of Women Ophthalmologist Society. So I read an article written by her in IGO. So in that she says when asked to name the founders of WOS, the answer is like each and every member of WOS is a founder, and no specific name should be ideally mentioned, as we have all grown together to build this society. That's a wonderful thing. Nobody's actually taking a claim for, though definitely people like her, Dr. Mohita, have been instrumental in bringing together such a vibrant organization. So this is I love that article. So she further writes that a delicate work-life balance is essential for the progress and success of women, both at work and at home, to be able to enjoy life in its purest form. Obviously, it's not just for women, for everyone, work-life balance. I'm not sure about how much that is possible for the super successful woman or a man. How can we have that real work-life balance there? So these are things that we are going to discuss today. She also quotes Dr. Carol Shields, that epitome of perfect work-life balance. The 5 A's include availability, affability, ability, affordability, and accountability. She's the interesting fact is that the multitasking ability of women enables them to absorb these qualities in right proportions, along with perfect execution of all tasks assigned. Seen this multitasking being done by my colleagues. I mean, very impressive. So the I've always wondered if a perfect work-life balance is possible for super achievers. One of my heroes or heroines, I don't know how to call her, Professor Dr. Namrata Sharma, is definitely the most influential ophthalmologist in India. I didn't say woman ophthalmologist. She's the most influential ophthalmologist in India and probably in the world at present. As she heads the largest organization of ophthalmologists in the world, we probably crossed American Academy here. And ma'am is the General Secretary of AOS. And Namrata ma'am has a mind-boggling number of publications. I think it is about 582 in international journals, presentations, ICs, orations in national and international conferences, huge number of awards, including Senior Achievement Award of APAO. She'll probably hit that in the recent future. And see, everyone at Kerala were really impressed with the way, like, these are things that we learn from leaders like her. See, we had a quotation. We at KSOS, we are the host for AOC 2023. We had a quotation of huge quotation for the tentage, and she, I mean, obviously we are all also there, but she was the one who led that negotiation with them, and we saved 1.5 crores. See, that's a kind of ability Professor Dr Namrata Sharma has. So anybody will be a fan of Dr Namrata Sharma. And see, in addition to that, she's a super teacher, a wonderful mother to Vasavadatta, and who's again a super achiever, and she's doing DM cardiology at Manipal. See, you know how busy she is. I mean, the amount of publications, the teaching work, surgeries, the administrative activities at AOS, which is not at all easy. And you give her a call, she'll just pick up the phone. I mean, if the phone is not engaged, and pick up the phone, say, yes, Sreeni. So calmly, she'll listen to everything, and she'll give a solution then and there. So this is, I'm sure that we are all going to learn quite a bit from ma'am today. And ma'am might remember, once I asked her when we were in Eluru together for the Andhra conference, asked her, how many hours do you sleep, ma'am? The smile, she said, Sreeni, 5-6 hours is okay, right? So how is this balance? Is this a balance? I mean, there has to be some imbalance somewhere. I'm not very sure for somebody, because we are cutting down on our sleep time. So, and as women, you have so many other responsibilities also, unlike us. So how these wonderful women have achieved such a lot in life. And we will hear today. And Laila ma'am, see, each and every young woman ophthalmologist who joins me and says it's difficult, like kids, says that and all. I'll tell you, like once we had our PG gold medal exam at Amrita, and Dr. Radhika Tandon came. So I told, because more than 90 or 95% of the PGs in Kerala are girls or young women. And see, I know their problems. And as I said, without fellowship, it is very difficult to do really well in ophthalmology. So at the end of their marriage, they might be forced to get married, then have kids. So how do you go for fellowship? So all these girls say, so it's so difficult. So thing and all. I say, see, Laila ma'am, see what she has done. See what is possible in even if you start late. Laila ma'am is one of the top pediatric ophthalmologists in India, though she started late. And this is exactly what Radhika Tandon ma'am also said. Like the women reach the level of men or surpass them, but I mean, it's the time period is totally different. So you don't have to really worry about that. Then we have the youngster Dr. Ritika, who is the director of medical services at Center for Sight, one of the largest chain of eye hospitals in India, and she completed her MBBS from LHMC in Delhi, followed by a PG from MAMC in Delhi, and then further training at RP Center. And she has won quite a lot of awards, including Dr. Krishan Sohan Trophy of DOS, Dr. Dheeraj Jain Medal, Lala Jeevan Memorial Prize, and he is the youngest recipient of intraocular IRSI gold medal, and she has also won the Joshi Young Achievers Award quite a bit. And see, what I would like is when I asked her, can you please join us for this talk, which is called the success mantra for the young woman ophthalmologist. She said, see, one of the key factors is to have an understanding spouse. That I like for me to be able to do whatever I am able to do with all the lot of traveling and everything, webinars, or AOC going on, huge lot of surgical work, without help from my wife Priya, which is possible. See, so I mean, to have a wonderful husband to support you is what Ritika says is and see, whatever you have, we have all there. You have to, if you have an organization which is going to support these youngsters, especially women, for them to come up. So this is what WOS is doing. So in addition to Dr. Mohita, we have representatives from WOS, Dr. Swati Tomar and Dr Aarti Nangia. Dr. Swati Tomar is going to give a talk, and she'll be covering a lot of aspects of what WOS is doing for the young and not so young and all women ophthalmologists of India. And Dr. Swati did her MBBS and MS in ophthalmology from JN Medical College, Aligarh, and a fellowship in cornea and anterior segment from LV Prasad Eye Institute, Hyderabad. And she joined as an adjunct faculty at LVPI. She's presently the director of Swanetra Eye Hospital in Jaipur, India. She's professor and head in Department of Ophthalmology in NIMS Medical College, Jaipur. She was honorary medical director of Eye Bank Society of Rajasthan, Jaipur, India for the last 15 years. This is a unique community eye bank, and she is the head of Rajasthan Women's Ophthalmological Society and a founding member of regional lead, founding member and regional lead of Southeast Asia, joint secretary of Women Ophthalmologists worldwide. And Dr. Aarti is a specialist. She's again a leader from WOS, and she has in fact won the WOS Leadership Award in 2012 and both Inspiration Awards in 2021. And she is a specialist in femtolaser, cataract refractive surgery, and squint surgery, a senior consultant Fortis Vasant Kunj and Fortis Escorts Hospital, Delhi, associate senior consultant with the site Avenue. She was a founder member and full-time consultant from inspection of Max Hospitals in Panchsheel, Delhi, Max Med Center, senior consultant for Center for Sight, entrepreneur, business head and partner at Center for Sight at Fortis Escorts 2019-21, state head Women in Ophthalmology Society, WOS Haryana chapter, executive member and member outreach programs of Women in Ophthalmology worldwide. Wow. So she has won several awards like Best Max Doctor Award, Rotary Best Doctor Award, and as I said, WOS Awards. And so she's going to be in the panel, and she's going to give us a lot of input on what should be done for these young women ophthalmologists to achieve what they aspire for. And our panelists from Kerala, we have the youngster, the youngest of the panel today, Dr. Rakhi, who's a consultant phacosurgeon at Ahalya Institute. She's a medical retina fellow at Comptos Eye Hospital. She has quite a lot of research publications and a lot of presentations, and she's a YO Slides Corner as a core member, and she is in ICMIS also. And we have my good friend Dr. Sinumol. Sinumol is a faculty at Government Medical College, Thrissur, and she's a wonderful innovator, and she like during the COVID time, she had a lot of contraptions innovated, which really helped a lot of people. And she from a government medical college, which obviously won't give a lot of facilities. She has gone and presented at American Academy and won the Best Video Award there. And Dr. Ritika, she's a professor at Amala Medical College at Thrissur, and she in addition to being a wonderful human being and wonderful teacher, wonderful ophthalmologist, she is heavily into literature. She's a wonderful poet, and so this is a team. And Dr. Mohita, it was a long introduction, but I mean, it'll save time in between. And can you please take over and carry on with the proceedings?
Thank you so much, Dr. Sreeni. And thank you for thinking about such a program. And thank you to the Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons for making this program happen. So when Dr. Sreeni talked to me first about this program, I was a bit surprised because Kerala is supposed to be a state where we feel women are the strongest. You know, whenever we talk of any state, Kerala is the one. What we have been hearing is that it's more like a matriarchal society, and it is where most of the ophthalmologists there are women, right? So the general tendency is to think why in Kerala anybody would be thinking about, you know, something like WOS or something like challenges faced by women ophthalmologists. But here I want to tell everybody right in the beginning that many times we hear that number of women in ophthalmology is increasing, and it may be a time that there are 90% women as ophthalmologists. But the challenges that women face remain the same, even if we tomorrow become 100% women ophthalmologists, and there are no men in ophthalmology, still the challenge remains the same. This is what we have gathered when we talk to women ophthalmologists all over the country, and in fact all over the world. In fact, we used to think that these are challenges faced by Indian women, but when we went across other countries and we formed this organization called WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide, we realized that these are the challenges which are worldwide. It's the same challenges which any women ophthalmologist feels all across the globe. And probably the reason for this is, as Dr. Sreeni said, that us is a surgical branch. And it's a surgical, and it's a very, very fast upgrading branch. So we have to be really updated with all our knowledge. And when you talk of young women ophthalmologists, that's the time when they have been doing very well. They have been doing similar to what their male colleagues have been doing. But that's the time when it's time to start their family. And it's the time where there may be certain breaks in their life, because of which they take a back seat for some time. And then after that, some of them, in fact, a sizable number of them, are not able to come back with that full thrust. In fact, they may go into a state of inertia. I always say that it's not the men who stop them. No, in today's world, men are very supportive. But when we tend to go into a state of inertia, we do not perform to our full potential. And WOS is all about giving more opportunities to women ophthalmologists so that they are able to perform up to their full potential. Now, this is especially so because if 50% of our ophthalmologists are women, if this 50% is not performing up to their full potential, it's a waste to the society and it's a waste of the resources. And we should optimally utilize their potential. Now, the whole environment we feel is all about mentorship. It is all about role models, and hence this program today is very, very, very valid because we have very successful women ophthalmologists here, and if such role models are showcased more, it becomes like an impetus to everybody that if they could do it, then why could we not? And we have seen that many of the senior women ophthalmologists, when we ask them to mentor the junior women ophthalmologists, they fit into that role very well, and it's an amazing environment of mentor and mentee, and which helps not just the mentee but the mentor too. So thank you so much, Dr. Sreeni, for conducting this program. And this goes totally with the ideology of WOS, and we feel that such programs are going to actually motivate a lot of young women ophthalmologists into doing their best. So I will now ask Dr. Aarti Nangia, who's one of the pillars of WOS, to go to take the proceedings of the program and go ahead with the next steps.
Perfectly said. I think this is the best platform to showcase the stories by our very eminent ophthalmologists, women with us. And so rightly said, the challenges would be the same. That is when WOS came into being, for actually making women come out of their inertia because they were so capable. So they're all passionate surgeons. It's just that they need a streamline. They need a podium presence. They need to be a part of a lot of programs WOS is coming out with. So they become a researcher, they become a mentor, they become live surgeons. So all of this just makes them do what they want to do, what they love to do. That is what is called the passion. So passion is profession, and success story is like mantras, is that one phrase which you keep reminding yourself to motivate yourself. So we go ahead, as Dr. Sreeni would want each speaker to speak upon. And I would just want to say that there's nothing impossible. It's just that if you're willing to take it up, I think all tasks and all hardships are, just superseded by one thing, which is consistency, our attitude, time, and goals. I think all of us should be with the same frame of mind to be successful, and should know how to handle failures so that you can handle success as well. Dr. Sreeni, over to you for the speakers.
Namrata ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll start with you, ma'am. When as I introduced you in the beginning, the most important ophthalmologists in India, not important, most influential woman ophthalmologists, most influential ophthalmologists in India, or perhaps the world. And you have been a wonderful teacher, guide, and sister to me. And so I've always, and not just me, everyone in India are looking up to you, like the kind of energy that you have, the achievements that so seemingly impossible achievements that you have. I'm sure that these youngsters, young women ophthalmologists in Kerala would love to hear from you how you have achieved this. And there is no shortcuts there. Like can you please enlighten us what you did differently?
Sure, Sreeni. Thank you for inviting me here in this session, and thank you for conceiving this along with Women Ophthalmological Society. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to speak on the platform of Kerala State Ophthalmic Society, because you know that 90% of the people who are listening to you are women, and it's always a pleasure to be sitting in those halls and looking at the audience there, where so many female ophthalmologists are there. So I think, like Dr. Mohita rightly put in, that the struggles remain the same. It doesn't matter whether you are in majority or minority, because we all go through the same phases. And I will share some insights into my own journey so that it kind of gets better. I mean, you all understand how all of us have gone through it. I know the situation is much better now. It was not as good earlier, and the female ophthalmologists are much more focused and much more into their, I mean, they know what they want in life. So I just termed it differently, and it's not that how did I also did it in a very much similar way, how others do it, going through the hard work. And I think whenever we talk of balancing personal and professional life, it doesn't happen much, because balancing leads to mediocrity, and you really cannot balance. And it is actually not about gender, it is about attitude. So if you want to excel, whether you are a female or male, you would still do it. And balancing can only be sequential. It cannot be it is like, you know, when your best years are there in your profession, you have to give your best there. And when your personal life, when you are into family, etc., then you have to give your best there. So it is not about gender, it is about your own attitude. And balancing personal and professional life, I think, is a sequential phenomenon. It doesn't happen simultaneously. So I would like to give credit to my role model, who herself was a female ophthalmologist, Professor Anita Panda. I joined MD in RP Center. She was my MD thesis guide. And sometimes when just your role models, they tell you what to do, it kind of helps. I had no clue what a publication is. I had no clue what a conference is. But she was the one who gave me my first index publication by making me do it. And also my first international conference, which I did way back in 1995 when I was still when I was a senior resident at that time. So that was my first exposure to academics. And if you do have good mentors, good role models, it does help you, because they handhold and they take you to your goal, and your journey becomes much faster. After doing my MD ophthalmology and my senior residency, I did pool officer in RP Center under Professor VK Dada, who himself was a voracious reader. He learned phacoemulsification when pretty much late in life, and that itself was an inspiration to see him, how he learned phacoemulsification. He helped me to cultivate habit of reading scientific journals. At that time, the journals were not available so readily as they are on the website and the PubMed, etc. And there was not so much material also. And at that time, I used to do in pool officer was make slides and do video editing. But I think one thing that I really learned from him is, and I would request all of the young ophthalmologists to do, whether male or female, is that you should record each and every case, because that really helps, and that helps you to document, for one. That is like your logbook, because you've done, those surgical cases. So it's like a surgical log, and you can always rewind and you can understand where are the mistakes you made and how do you need to correct. So much so that I know that he wouldn't make a side port also unless the recording button was on. So I think that is something which is very important. And that is because we are into a surgical specialty, record each and every case, because when a complication occurs, it's not going to come and tell you that it is going to happen, and so you should record. It will happen, and that has to be captured for your own learning, and also for others to learn. They can, learn from your mistakes, just like we learn from other people's mistakes. So much so that although in pool officer, because it was a research job, I did not do any surgery, but I just watched videos and edited videos. But that gave me a confidence, and I could, when I started doing phacoemulsification myself, there was hardly any learning curve, because I had watched all the mistakes, all the complications, all the problems that were there. And so I knew how to manage them. Then my mentor, my philosopher and guide, especially in surgical skills or writing publications, is Professor Vajpayee, who was also my co-guide. Again, like I always say, if somebody tells you that it is important to publish, it is important to write in index journals, without having you to, figure out, it is really very useful. I also got initiated into writing books. Now, the advantage of doing books is that you would read everything about that thing. So there was a book which had to be done on phacoemulsification, and I readily agreed, even though I was not an author of that book, because I thought that I would read everything about it. So we likewise made many innovations in corneal transplant, and subsequently went on to do various videos. Dr. Sreeni was talking about fellowships, and Dr. Mohita also in the WOS program, and I'm sure Dr. Aarti and Swati are going to tell you that they have this mentor-mentee program, and it always helps if you do some kind of a fellowship, because just by doing MD ophthalmology, it doesn't suffice. Everybody is doing cataract surgery, but you have to have a specialized area. So after I became assistant professor, in fact, associate professor, I went to Moorfields to do fellowship for 6 months under Dr. John Dart, and I did it in cornea and external eye disease. And whenever you leave your family and your house, I think the support of the family is very important. And at this point in time, I did take help from my family members at that time to support my family, as I had a daughter at that time. But like I said, one short fellowship, whether you do nationally or you do internationally, is very important, because that gives you a different culture. It gives you a different way of looking things. It broadens your horizons. And if you can do international fellowship or observership for that matter, 1 week, 1 month, and I call it beyond conference or conference plus program. Suppose you're going to an international conference to attend, then it is always good that 2 days before or 2 days later, you just visit any hospital over there, tie up with anyone over there, because it gives you a different environment completely, and also helps you because those things are there in your subconscious mind. Then I think you have to plan your life well. You have to work towards your career and also work towards your family. Also have to decide whether you want to do a government job or you want to do a private job, whether you want to join a group practice or corporate sector, or you want to do an academic job, go into teaching. And everything is going to take time. Our profession is such that every 3 years there's going to be a break, and we have to be prepared with it, irrespective of the gender, because every 3 years you are down on the roads and you are looking for your next assignment. You need to, having said this, have excellence in patient care, teaching, research, and leadership, provided you are interested, because not everybody may be interested in leadership roles. And you need to have role models for all of them. So in your OPD and clinics, one has to try to do the best. Some people have inherent surgical skills in the sense that they can do surgery very well, even without having to practice it. Others who don't have it have to keep practicing to acquire it. And that is also a possibility. You again have to have your teachers, your role models, your surgeons whom you will emulate. And sometimes whatever your teacher tells you or whatever your mentor tells you, you can move 3,000 pages of a book and you may not be able to read that particular thing, or you can see 3,000 videos and still not pick up that thing which your mentor or which your teacher or which your guide just, by observing what you are saying or what you're doing, just handholds and tells you how it has to be done correctly. It is important to present things, and it is important to publish also. It is important to be a part of group or unit, because you cannot be everywhere. So you can be part of a group, at least one person goes and presents, so the presence is there, and it is important to present. For 9 years, I was just doing publications and I did not attend a single national or international conference. And then I realized that there has to be a phase to the work that you do, and it is important to present. It is also important to do networking in today's world, because that is also an important component that one has to learn. So when you do a research, you have to see that the idea is new, whether it is a new technique, new complication, new imaging, something, whatever has been published in that area. Consult a biostatistician, take a IRB approval, begin the research. It can be any kind of study. It can be just, a simple letter to editor. And just to give you examples, when we started doing phacoemulsification, we started staining capsules. That was a new thing. So we published in that. Then we started doing nucleotomies and described several nucleotomies. Then the refractive surgery came in. So we did studies on LASIK. And then sometimes it is important to do it fast, because, everybody is very intelligent and everybody is thinking. But if they have done it before you, then the problem is that your thing, it will go on their name and you won't like it because you've been doing it in case after case. Just to give you example, trypan blue staining of anterior capsule was a letter to editor. SLET, which was a technique, was described as a case report. And likewise, there are several examples. Sometimes you do things, but you don't realize they're not published. Like this one case that we did, where we did one cornea we used for 3 patients. We've been doing it for years together, because in India, there is paucity of good quality donor tissue, but there was no publication of the same. So you have to be vigilant what is there on the PubMed and what you really can publish. Now, when you start publishing more and more, then you become a part of collaboration, international and national both, and then it comes automatically to you. When you have new things like femtosecond cataract laser in your department or in the place that you're working or in the clinic, then you start publishing on that. And it is important. This was just, I want to highlight that this is just a power of just observation. So these were just 32 patients who were there, who fell down in a ditch, and they were followed up over a period of time, had sodium hydroxide injury. And that's very simple follow-up, which I'm sure all of you are doing in your clinics, can become a part of a publication. So one has to keep documenting and that is very important. Whatever you present, for instance, you present in AIOS, send it to publication for Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. If you go to American Academy of Ophthalmology and you present something there, then that gets published in Ophthalmology Journal. If you present something in ESCRS or ASCRS, that gets published in Journal of Cataract Refractive Surgery. So those kind of opportunities one should avail. When you start to publish, there is going to be rejection. For instance, one paper got rejected 17 times, but your publication should never stay in your computer. There should be somewhere on the internet. As soon as it comes, just correct it, send it elsewhere. Rejected, again send it elsewhere. So one day it will see the light of the day. So it is very important that you don't lose hope and you keep publishing. Then it is also important that once you present, publish fast, because otherwise some other person might take an idea, and this is an example of that, and publish it much before you, and then again you're not going to like it. And this, like I said, that rejections doesn't mean that the paper is not good. Rejection only means that it is not their priority, and so you have to send it elsewhere. At times it is useful to change continents. So if you send a paper to, say, American Journal of Ophthalmology, Archives of Ophthalmology, Cornea, then it's all going into US. All the reviewers are going to be same. So you send it to another continent like UK or another continent like Australia, then the chances of acceptance are high. Of course, there has to be continuity in your research as you do research. So if you're doing research in microbial keratitis, then you continue to do research in that, then you have patents in that, then you write review articles. If you're doing in keratoplasty, then again, you write review articles in that, describe several techniques. Then important thing is, like I said, you become part of collaborations, which could be national or international. And the last word on this is that all ophthalmologists are intelligent, all are alike. You don't have to be smarter than them, but you have to be faster than them in conception of an idea, execution of an idea, and publishing of an idea. The books I did as the various techniques came, phacoemulsification came, so I thought I'll do a book on it. So I learned everything about it. LASIK came. And then again, we thought that we'll do a book. I would just say that I was fortunate that I had the opportunity to do it. But sometimes you have to dig out the opportunities when they are not there or create it. So subsequently, as you do videos, I'm sure all of you do surgeries. You keep recording your videos, and then you can send in the same calendar year, the videos can go to various conferences. You can send to AO, APCRS, RANSCO. So you make one video once. So normally what we do is we make it in January. And then from January to December, we send it to all the conferences, the same video. So because in the same calendar year, you're allowed to send a video, and if it is good, then it will get published. Now, as far as the women leadership is concerned, I think that is a totally a decision of yourself if you want to get into leadership roles or not. Having said this, there's only 17% leaders who are women. Like I said, in Kerala, it may be different, but in international and national scenario, it is there, very much there. To the leadership role, there may be barriers like self-hesitation. You don't want to do it, or you don't like it, or the time doesn't suit you. So it's quite okay if you don't get into these leadership roles. It just depends on whether you want it or not, and whether you're willing to devote that kind of time or not. Of course, I always believe that the power is in the person and not in the chair. So the titles are often meaningless, although sometimes you may require them to further what you want to do. And leadership, of course, has to be earned. It cannot be demanded, it is commanded. And power is in a person and not in the chair. So what you want to do actually in life, you eventually do it. Again, in leadership also, you have to identify role models, mentors, and networking groups. Just like you enter everywhere from the lowest cadre, here also you enter in professional societies from the lowest cadre. Important thing is that you have to delegate work. You have to be a leader and not a manager. You cannot do everything yourself. And this is when I decided in 2017 to contest an election, and it was not easy. It was quite difficult, but I must thank all the women ophthalmologists there who helped in this. And of course, the Women Ophthalmic Society, and I quote this everywhere, that when this was being made, I did ask Mohita why she wants to make it. Possibly it's not required. And I think the answer that she gave me is very convincing. She said that not everybody has the opportunities as few of us would be having. So it is important to create opportunities for everybody. And women can mentor women much better, although I feel that all the men also do help. Like I said earlier, balancing personal and professional life is difficult. I feel sometimes it is an illusion and you have to focus at both the fronts. Sometimes you have to take backseat in your profession because your family becomes more important. Either you are creating a family, or your children are giving 10th, 11th, 12th exam, or they are in some critical or crucial junctures when you need to support them. And important thing is that you have to strive for excellence. Now, it is important to plan everything, resolve to do a post-graduation, of course, which you all have done, do a fellowship, and work towards it. And I think do not fall to victim of escapist attitude, which sometimes happen. All is a transition phase, and one should not get into this attitude of escapism that I did not do it because I was doing something else, because there are ways and means to do it. And like I said, if you want to do something, you can do it. I feel one very important thing is that you have to associate your happiness with your work, because that is something which you can control, and not associate your happiness with people, because that is something you cannot control. And always look at the larger picture. The trivial issues should not be looked into. And of course, never defocus whether you are at home, at work. It is important to compartmentalize your work. Sometimes achieving excellence can be quite boring, because you'll end up doing the same thing every day, and every day, so that you move a little further in particular thing every day. And I think when you compartmentalize your work every day in the morning, you kind of break it into sectors, into hours, and then chase your targets every way in those hours. Of course, you do need family support at all fronts. We have some of the very capable women who have done well. This is Professor V.K. Dada, who has been my mentor and has been a role model. And I think it is all in the mind. Ophthalmology does not have gender. You have to achieve your goals, and your attitude determines your success. And of course, think about yourself and don't feel guilty about it. There's nothing, no guilt if you think about yourself. And of course, do think about your near and dear ones, because ultimately your family stays with you through thick and thin. And you have to be better than the best. So these are some of the pictures. My daughter is pursuing DM cardiology, as Sreeni has already said, and my husband is a cardiologist, and my parents and my sisters. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, ma'am. See, this talk is a talk that not just women ophthalmologists should listen to. Each and every ophthalmologist should listen to this. Like, see how you go ahead with publications, how you plan your career, the breaks and all. Ma'am, can you please unshare so that you'll come? So this is it. See, before it goes to the other panelists, I like, as I said in my introduction, and see, there might be, because you are juggling so many things. Everyone has to. See, I'm realizing it these days. It's very difficult to manage time. So, like, I'm not sure if Dr. Khoker was joking or not. He was telling Dr. Namrata has decided not to cook, so that those 2 hours can be used for sending some publications. So, and as you told me, like, your sleep time is sort of limited. So that's probably how you squeeze out extra time to achieve more. And see, in all this, see how did you manage your time with Vasavada. So that's something that's very near to me. Like, I mean, until and unless you have peace at your family, you're not at peace yourself, and you're not going to achieve quite a bit. Like, you won't be happy. So I know that she's so happy and she's such a loving mother. How do you manage to do that? And that's what when this is how I've planned the talk. Like, from you will go to Laila madam, who has done what you said exactly. Like, she has sort of compartmentalized her life, like excellence in the family, then in profession. So there's no mediocrity there. So I would like to have answers to my queries, and I'll let other panelists to ask their queries to you, and then I will take it to Dr. Laila ma'am. Ma'am.
So what Sreeni wants to know is that we know already what you're talking about your professional life, but we don't know how you manage your personal life.
Exactly.
So the answer to that is, I was very clear that, like, for instance, when I did my senior residency in keratoplasty, and in keratoplasty you have to do night duties, you have to do PKs in the night. At that time, there were no intermediate storage media. We just had MK media. So I had the support of my family. She was at that time 1.5, 2 years old. So they were there to support me, in the sense that they would take care when I was not there at home. And I think you need a lot of help from your family. You need a lot of professional help also. And if I think there is no harm in taking it. And you will have to depend on a lot of professional help who are not your relatives or your friends, in the sense people who are helping you at home. You have to delegate work, and then you can supervise, or your parents can supervise at home, but they cannot do, you don't expect them to, look after your children, but they can at least supervise other people who are looking after. So that was one thing. Second, I was very clear that when she's in her 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, I did not do anything much professionally, or didn't take up any leadership role, or in fact that came along also, and I said I can't do it now. Only after she finished her 12th, I started doing. So those 4 years were kind of a break for me. I took a back seat, because you should know when you have to take back seat and when it is prime time for them. Following this, of course, what happens is, I think generally when you work hard, your children also want to emulate that, and they understand, what you are doing. And so they also become very self-reliant. I skipped those slides because I thought possibly they were not so relevant, but they become self-reliant. They understand what you are achieving, and they are with you in this journey. And then they also want to do similarly, or they want to do better than you. So I think it just falls in place. Like I said, you don't have to falter. So if you don't falter and they see that you are not faltering, then they also don't falter, because they also want to live up to an image which is there in your eyes. And just for that, I think, they also try to do their best. So I think you have to plan well, in the sense that you have to step aside when their prime time comes, and when it is your prime time, then they have to help you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Ritika. So, when you any of the panelists, ma'am, please stay back.
I'm very much here.
Okay. So as I said, Dr. Laila Mohan is a person who I respect a lot, and she can be a role model to any young ophthalmologist in Kerala. As I said, any young ophthalmologist who comes to me and says, "Sir, it's so difficult to go for fellowship because I have to manage my kids. They have 1 year, 2 years, what to do and all." So I said, so just, I mean, don't worry. Like, I mean, for me, I mean, this is from my male perspective speaking. So peace in the family and happiness in the family is what will help you to achieve quite a bit professionally. If that is not there, it is very difficult. At least from my viewpoint, that is so like and like Dr. Ritika said, told me when I called her, you have to have support from your spouse. I mean, without that, it is very difficult to achieve. So take it slow, or let your spouse understand your aims and everything, and you can compartmentalize your life like what Laila ma'am did. And I think we should listen to Laila ma'am, her life story, how she has achieved so much in life, because she has three sons. It's not easy. So all of them are super achievers. One has done cardiology from AIMS and is one of the top cardiologists in Calicut. The other person has done it from IIT. Another the other one is in Singapore. She has done from REC, and so she has taken all the three kids to the highest levels. And once that has done, and she has turned her focus to career, and she has reached the top. I mean, though she started late, she's there up there. Laila ma'am, can we hear from you?
Of course, Sreeni. I have not brought any presentation, PowerPoint presentation, as Sreeni wanted me to focus mainly on how I started later than most of the ophthalmologists. And each time I listen to you, Dr. Namrata, it's still at this age also, it's so inspiring, though I don't follow. When I listen to you, I feel that I should go back, collect everything, do something. But really, it is inspiring to the young generation. Definitely, it's an inspiring story, always.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, as Dr. Sreeni was pointing out, probably I am the senior most among at least all of you. When we did ophthalmology PG, we didn't have opportunity for fellowship or even cataract or specific subspecialties. We had to do everything. And of course, I had my mentors here in Medical College Calicut, where I did my post-graduation. And then I did work in the Middle East for some time. And I had this wonderful opportunity to have an observership in King Khalid Eye Specialist Hospital in Riyadh. It was not an easy job because in Saudi, you're not supposed to travel without your husband. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very expensive. But I was fortunate to have my husband allow me to do that with the permission from the Mudir, as we call, the permission from the authority where my husband was working. I was also working in the same hospital, and I could manage to, they had the Monday rounds and all the academics is something which you should never, ever stop learning. You have to be a student all your life as a doctor, as an ophthalmologist, of course, because ophthalmology is fast, progressing technologically also. So you have to update yourself. So there is no shortcut for that. You have to be when I did my IOL fellowship, almost nearing 40. At that time, many of my colleagues and friends told me that you are going to have a very tough time. You will get some scolding. I did it in Arvind Eye Hospital, and Dr. G. Nachiyar Madam, she is still my guru, mentor, whom I look upon for all my problems in the hospital, administrative, or now I don't have any administrative role. But when I took up this challenge, it was a tough time. And we didn't have all the subspecialties. We had to manage most of the cases. Of course, retina is something apart from all the subspecialties. So the other cases we had to do. So I had this wonderful opportunity, even in the Middle East, to go and have an observership where 24-hour library was there, and you had the opportunity for research also, where Dr. Tabbara was there that time. So some research opportunities were given to me. Pachymetry I could do there. But of course, looking back, I think I must tell the younger ophthalmologists that whenever you get an opportunity, you should not leave the give up the opportunity to go after it. Go after the passion you develop by some mentor who will help you in research is always very good to follow, and perseverance in your work. Also, all these come from mentors, very good mentors. So even though it was mainly a monetary thing in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, I had the opportunity to be with the best. King Khalid Eye Specialist Hospital is considered to be one of the best in Asia, where all the even 12 subspecialty in electrophysiology and all the subspecialties were there even in those days, 90, during somewhere near the Gulf War, that was 1990. So that time, it was mainly ECC. The FACO was not, had not become very popular, but FACOing was done after doing ECC and a large wound with sutures, and then you undo the suture and put in a rigid lens, IOL, and then you suture back. So all these things, these were the olden days before coming into our refined phacoemulsification and foldables and all the premium lenses, whatnot. So all subspecialties, I would say, cornea, to me in those days, I used to think, okay, cornea is something very, not much development can be. I think cornea is the subspecialty which has the maximum innovative techniques now. So rather than phacoemulsification or cataract, all these refractive surgeries, cornea, even I'm not saying just cornea, any subspecialty for that matter, if you develop a passion for that, you can develop your best, you can put out your full potential in that subspecialty, doesn't matter which. And you can become the best if you have to follow your develop a passion for your work and your specialty and do the maximum. And now where, as Dr. Sreeni was pointing out, after my phaco training also in Chennai under Dr. Mohan Rajan, I had the opportunity also where you must be able to, you must take up the challenges. As Dr. Namrata was rightly pointing out, I don't feel that professionally there should be a gender bias that you are a woman, that you should have a privilege given special. I feel that it is the same, either a male or female, gender doesn't make a difference in your professional work. So you must be confident to take up the challenge. If you want to become confident, then you have to become confident in what you're doing, keep learning academically, and I think the rest of it will follow. More than I wouldn't say when Dr. Sreeni discusses about the monetary aspects and other things, I wouldn't say you shouldn't go after the monetary outcome, but then going after doing everything passionately and in your specialty, giving you all your potential output will definitely bring you what you want. I'm sure that just for monetary compromise, you should not give up your academics and passion. That's what I want to tell the new, as Dr. Namrata was pointing out, even internationally and anywhere, the bias that ladies are not coming up to she is the role model for as a leader in our, internationally also the largest association, ophthalmic association, she has taken up the challenge. So,
Laila ma'am, see, there is one very important aspect, I mean, from your experience in the career and life as such. So I just want to know, you said you went for IOL fellowship at the age of 40. See, at what age were you really confident to say, at least yourself, that you are as good as anybody else? Like you can call competitors or colleagues or whatever. So I want that age to be, so that it gives an assurance to these youngsters that it is possible at this age. Like let's take phaco as such, or cataract surgery. I mean, phaco came up late. When did you actually really consider yourself as good enough as anybody else? At what age?
See, after we were doing cataract surgery and ECC were being done even before I went for the fellowship. So, but not confident, of course. And our instrumentation also was not all that perfect. And, you know, when I joined probably 98, 99, those days, many people used to go out
can
to the
you,
stage.
like, what was your age at that time? That's what.
Yes, 40, 41 probably.
Okay.
40.
Okay.
Yeah. So then that is when we even for YAG capsulotomy, people had to go out. There was no YAG laser in the whole of Malabar. That is when we bought our YAG machine, probably in 2000, I think in 2000, that was. And we had to work out the monetary how and when we can finish off the loan for the YAG machine. Even we had to manage with an Appasamy auto, HFA for everything goes step by step.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just want from your personal thing. That's what I want.
Yeah, but learning didn't end there. Learning did not end there. I went for phaco training and then started doing selectively initially. But now, of course, as you know, even the hardest cataract can be done. I would rather go for a phaco rather than.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go through your the periods in your life. So when did you actually?
I think we must say it cannot be universalized, because when you have a large volume and when you are the only person, then you pick up, you have to, and you pick up very fast. It's not like once in a blue moon. Doing a cataract surgery once or twice a week is not the case. You have a good volume, and not like nowadays. We had a very large camp patients also, 60
in contrast,
yes.
Yeah.
60 to 80 cases a day.
Let's just concentrate on you, ma'am. For you, probably came back from fellowship at 40, 41, and probably by the age of 42, 43, you were one of the best. Can I take it like that? And
no, I don't think you should you should say like that. But I was fortunate to have the opportunity to see, when you have a lot of associates as we have now, we are about 30 doctors in now. We were managing with 2 or 3 doctors in those days, and you had to cover all the emergencies. We were the only eye hospital. So any emergency, unless you do, they have to go around for medical college. As you know, those days they didn't have an ophthalmic theater for the night shift. So we had to do 24 hours, probably 7 by 7, including cataract, including cams, no holiday. So you have to take up those challenges when you have to.
Okay, that's great. See, what about pediatric ophthalmology?
Pediatric ophthalmology, again, squint strabismus and oculoplasty was my favorite, even because even in the Middle East, many people who wanted to do only cataract surgery. So my mentor and guru, Dr. Venkadachalam sir, was very fond of oculoplasty, and I was very fond of oculoplasty then. And squint also, strabismus was done by him in Calcutta. And when I joined Saudi Ministry of Health, trauma and oculoplasty used to take up most of our surgical cases. And the plastic surgeon, they used to sit hours together doing their trauma over the face. Camel bites and trauma, traffic accidents were very common. We had to do it together, sit in the theater wait for 8 hours till the plastic surgeon finished, and then take over and do the eye part of it. So all these were challenges which, unless you take up the challenge, if you want to refer, it is easy. You can refer to a higher center. So taking up the challenges is more important. And it is, I don't think we should shy away from even the major trauma, because we can do it. Where you have the facility, you must take up the challenges rather than shy away from many of these complicated cases. That is what I would say, advise the younger generation, not to just refer to a higher center, many of these cases. But you must definitely, I was fortunate to have the hospital authorities were ready to buy instruments whenever necessary. And it was not all that easy. Those days, we had to convince that we have to spend money on these things. Priorities were there. Nowadays, we spend crores of rupees for many of these instruments, and it took almost 10 years or more to convince them that LASIK is necessary for a wholesome ophthalmic institute. So ours was a charitable institute. That's another part of it. It is not just a commercial corporate institute. It is a charitable institute. So we had to think twice when buying instruments and machines. So I think main thing is that you must be ready to take up challenges. And it is not just money. Probably cataract and phacoemulsification may pay you better than a mass lesion on the lid, which may take you 2 hours or 3 hours sitting on it. And the patient is so poor that we may have to, such things we have to, I think we must take the time out to do such things.
Yeah, you grab the opportunities and take up all the challenges. Sinumol, Ritika, yes. Any queries to ma'am, clarifications, Dr. Swati, Dr. Aarti?
Again, I had.
Yeah,
okay, please.
I think she summarized it very well. Hardships are going to be there. You need to be the captain of your obstacles. And if there's a passion, and if you decide and dare to take the impossible, I think the human limitations are not there. So I guess you're right that, the challenges only make us move up. And since you were an authority to decide, and you had to go through all the, the kind of surgeries you did, and you had to wait for the surgery, OT time and all of that, is because you were responsible, and that, you had thought of acquiring all the skills to reach a level to give that kind of, the opportunity to yourself. So I
Yeah,
guess
I had to go to, I have worked up almost 8-10 years to have an observership in the US under Dr. Edward Wilson, the top steering committee person who was in the infant FAK treatment study. So I had a long workup done to get an association there and went there. Though it was for a short time, we get more confidence that you are doing the right thing.
absolutely.
I went to Dr. Vasavada for some time. I went to LV Prasad to refine my glaucoma, congenital glaucoma techniques and the tube shunts under Dr. Senthil Sirisha.
I think, yeah, where
All these
the age
keep
part
on,
is coming,
yes.
I would say age is very relative term, because I remember having a child when I was doing my MS exams. It was the 8th month and I took my final exams, and I had only 1 month gap period where I had to just deliver maybe 3 weeks later of my MS exams. And having set your family earlier, your children grew when you were, striving to become more accomplished in your, kind of field. So I guess age is just relative. If your ambition, your striving to acquire knowledge and get accomplished, and of course we've had change of our job, security of the job, support of the family, and also always getting to feel that your place will be there if you get more skilled. And in today's time, we don't have a job security. So I think for women, that becomes quite a handicap, that you have to keep looking at, areas where men will always be maybe a one-man institute or a corporate hospital, or, if you're working in your own private practice, you need to choose where to invest. Because as you rightly said, it's not even today, even corporate hospitals don't want to invest in a LASIK machine. We are all refractive surgeons, but we need to hop into other centers to at the beck and call of their finances and everything. So their things and times are very crucial and different, and challenges are different in different cities. But what one thing is important is to aim for and be persistent to be in the field. You need to really grip it, that you need to be a woman who will go every day in the morning 9 to 5 and do your job, and come back and of course be a homemaker as well. So I guess we need to hear the other speakers, and I feel Swati has a lot to share, because I find her having taken challenges at a very young age. Swati, let's hear you.
Thank you, Dr. Aarti, and thank you, Dr. Sreeni and KSOS, for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of WOS. And what I'm going to speak now is basically what we are actually seeing most commonly in the younger generation. And for this, we through WOS, a couple of months back, when we were doing our Asia Pacific seminar, we did a survey for women residents and practicing women ophthalmologists across the Asia Pacific region. And mostly the survey result had a maximum number of Indians in this. And we found that this was on women only. So we found that most of the women were practicing ophthalmologists. There were very few who were non-practicing. So to say that there's no fire amongst women, or they take a backseat, is it's very outdated, because now the women are coming forward and actually taking care of their careers. And to the question that are you interested in further training or fellowship, 86% said that yes, they would actually they would need a further training and fellowship given a chance at any age. So that becomes again an impetus to what should we be doing. So the first and foremost mantra that I would say through WOS is the keep up the communication. So when we are actually into the field and we are actually into the business of ophthalmology, then I would call it a business because it works like you work like an entrepreneur if you are in a private practice, and you also work with your mind when you are in a government job and at other places or in a corporate job. And this is the first and foremost program that WOS came up with, a mentor-mentee program, where the mentors came voluntarily to help the mentees. And not only we had a series of webinars with mentors and mentees over a period of an year, but we also had one-to-one interaction with each of the mentor that mentee gets. And there were galaxy of mentors who volunteered in different sections. So mentee got a lot of opportunities to actually get coached, get, to develop their skills, or how to the guide, the knowledge that they could get from their mentors. So this was, and they could actually choose the mentors. So we had these webinars on every Sunday so that, you can get enough time to interact with your mentees. The second most important mantra that I would give to the younger generation is that do not forget academia. So this is like we all look upon Dr. Namrata Sharma as our inspiration throughout, not only in India, but across the world. So, and the number of publications is actually humanly not possible for a single person to do it with so much of clinical work and being into such an institution of repute that you look forward to meeting her and listening to her. So in spite of all the clinical work, if she can come up and do so much of research, then and actually the survey that we did also said that 71% were interested in doing research work. So imagine the opportunities that they're looking for, the incentives that they're looking for to do a research, and probably they're not getting enough time, but or the impetus to do a research. So with this in mind, WOS started Women in Research webinar program, which actually dealt with all the researchers around India were connected, and they came together and they kind of they gave importance to the molecular research and the genetical research, and till date there are 4 completed studies that WOS has been able to implement through the younger generation, and there are biorepository that has been created at various institutes which can actually handle a lot of samples, and also government affiliation like Department of Science and Technology was sought with, and there were 3 studies and projects that were approved by DST under WOS-B section last year, and the 3 got away with a complete 3-year grants, and these are from the Women Ophthalmological Society that we did. And so it's very important that like Dr. Sreeni said, let's ideate. We should also be, like Dr. Namrata said, that if you have an idea, you have to be fast. You just can't sit with an idea, because there are people around you who are doing it. And what a better way to do it if you have mentorship from a government affiliation, or you have a mentorship from a clinical research group, or like-minded people who can help you with the study. So with this aim, the webinar was created, and it is doing really well. Also, webinar collaboration with University of Swainpur for PhD, and there were a lot of students who have registered for PhD in 2020, and with years to come, we will be seeing more of affiliations for PhD also. The third thing that you actually can think of is get a good skill set before you start your practice. So practice can happen anytime, but once you are into any kind of a practice, you just can't leave and keep coming back and thinking that I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. So get it in one go, because as Dr. Namrata said, there'll be lots of breaks in your practice, and every 3 years you are back into this, that, oh, I don't know this, because ophthalmology has moved forward, but maybe you didn't. So with this, the survey, we asked them, do you want to volunteer for training younger ophthalmologists? So the huge response was that about 75% want to train their younger generation, the younger ophthalmologist, and the women were more than willing to train if they are trained well. So with this idea in mind, we had mentored live surgery sessions in Hyderabad along with our WOS annual conference. And with each young ophthalmologist who was just out of post-graduation or DNB or was a fellow, was attached to a senior ophthalmologist and in the same OR, and these live surgeries were shown to the world. And this is how a real mentoring would be, or any mentoring that we could think of for surgeries. And again, last year, this conference, Global Conclave, which happened with women ophthalmologists worldwide and WOS, all women live surgery, was the first ever live surgery which was performed, and about 15 women participated, and they were only women, and all the surgeries went on. So to say that women are a lesser generation, a lesser gender, or a lesser surgeon, that is very obsolete and outdated, and they can do as much work and as much willingly as possible as any other men or other people. The other thing that I would say, be more proactive. Proactive means that if you have an idea or an innovation that you have, please take it forward. You have lots of opportunities, and one such opportunity was created by WOS as Shark Tank. So we had these ideas or initiatives that were taken for women in research, or any other idea of developing an AI-based any kind of software or anything. And these were actually presented before a group of people, and these ideas were taken forward so they can turn into innovations. And also, if you have an idea and if you have done really well with something, please come forward, because WOS has also taken an initiative of recognizing those women on international and national forum, and we call this as a Heroes Session and Awards, and it is every year that we do it with our annual conference, and we invite nominations, and these are both nationally and internationally. So these are certain things that you should be aware of. And also, like Dr. Aarti said, that everybody wants a more podium or paper presentation exposure. And with this, we realized that like about 75% wanted more podium presentation, because as women, we sometimes get lost in how should we go about and how should we be there. Like Dr. Namrata said, leadership is not an easy cake, and it is not for everyone. So like if you want a more podium or paper presentation, then WOS is your answer. It's a platform. And again, there are lots of PG programs and the PG Fest that what WOS has taken, like competitive sessions in the conferences. Then these PG Fests, which occur from time to time. This is like passing the torch from teachers to students. So we have a teacher who is allocated a student, and they present, the students present, and the rest of the faculty judges. You can interact, you can present, you can bond. So there are lots of things that can happen. And actually you can see a lot of successful women there, which actually changes your mindset, how these younger generation could go forward. And these are awards that happen for all PG students, right from the conferences to webinars and seminars. They get to present, and the ones those are selected in these state level competitions are again given a chance to present in the annual conference. So with this, a lot of other things that WOS did was an industry and you session where you can interact with the industry, and you can actually, when you're coming out to practice, you can have a guidance or mentorship from these highly placed women ophthalmologists. Under their guidance, you can negotiate better. They can help you to. So these are some of the panel that was there in our last conference, and the industry that was there in the last conference. And we had a one-to-one interaction with people, and there was a roundtable meet, and where you could go and you can just ask to, if you want to buy a Zeiss phaco machine, then you can actually interact, and there's somebody who already has a Zeiss phaco machine will help you negotiate the prices, and also getting help in AMC and CMC. So this is something that very innovative that industry and we came up with. And also, do you want to publish papers? So this survey told that like 80% are interested. So it's not that it's a laid back attitude. It's just the opportunities, or like ma'am said, that Namrata ma'am said that like it was rejected 17 times. So you can imagine, it is just about the motivation and the right platform or the right guidance that you get to where you can publish, and which journals can take this study easily or faster. So this is something. So WOS took an initiative of getting a special rare eye disease issue in Indian Journal of Ophthalmology a couple of months back, and there was a big issue, and the tremendous amount of case reports, case series, and articles that we received from around the globe, not only nationally, internationally, and that we had to actually eliminate a lot of them because the journal could not be. It was exceeding the number of pages that it could have been printed off. So this is, and also on a topic like a rare eye disease. So imagine what commonly that you can present, like ma'am said that you can actually make a case report on how you stain a capsule. So these are all ideas and how you go about it. And there are lots of journals who would take, if not the main journals, you can go to second grade journals, which would be happy to take your studies. So these are some of the unique programs to end the first timer, these mentored life surgery, the awards, the inspiration, the innovations, the women in research, the research paper presentation, motivational talks and leadership, state competitive sessions. It's a whole variety that what WOS is taking care, not only of younger generation, but of practicing women ophthalmologists. And like I said, that a lot of people are only interested in cataracts. So when we asked that, are you happy with your surgical exposure? Most of them said they're only happy with cataract. So cataract, I would, to my younger generation, please do not get obsessed with cataract surgery. There's more to ophthalmology than cataracts. And when you go out and step out in the world and you see lots of people doing innumerable number of innovative surgeries that you get really inclined towards, because ophthalmology is just not about cataract surgery. And please go ahead and find your mentor in doing something else other than cataract surgery. We can give you a lot of peace and interest. So with this, WOS took the whole thing forward to global, on a global platform, and we managed to form a women ophthalmologists worldwide society, which was launched in 2019, and last year was the first annual conference of WOW. And this year again we are going to host the same conference in India in the month of October. And I would like to end my talk with this attribute of an ideal surgeon by the Roman god of medicine, Aesculapius. The mind of an Aesculapius, the eye of an eagle, the heart of a lion, and hands of a woman is what makes an ideal surgeon. So all the ladies out there who are actually thinking, why should we join WOS, or what WOS is doing? So this is what WOS is doing, and we look forward to having more interactions with you in future. Thank you.
Dr. Swati, you ended up with a quote saying that a surgeon should have hands of a woman, and in between you said nobody should think that you are inferior. See, nobody in their right sense of mind would say that the hands of a woman is inferior. It's absolutely much better than male hands. So in everything. So the skill-wise, definitely nobody has any doubt there. So I mean, I just want to comment on one of the slides you this thing. And Dr. Aarti, any more comments? And our panelists from Kerala also, let them have it.
See, I would say everybody says women are majority, women have the challenges, but I think they'll always, in the eyes of men, be second, and they would always challenge men more than the challenges of the field. So I feel when a woman decides to be there with men, she knows that she needs to prove her mettle more than the men. So I guess men take it in a way that we are a competition or a threatening them. It is never like that. We just want to coexist. And the platform of WOS is only and only to make each woman more confident, to showcase what she's really worth. And definitely the hand of women are, with the support of men, more beautiful. And they can only perform if the men are going to push them forwards, not otherwise.
Actually,
so be a husband, be a son, or be it be a mentor, or an institutional head, or a corporate CEO. So, but take us seriously because we are there in the business to only perform coexistingly and want to learn because it's an emerging branch. We cannot just sit back and be in our inertia state, as rightly Dr. Mohita said. So that is when the concept of women's society came in. But I would say the society is just a platform to have more wings. And Swati is how beautifully illustrated. There's so much to do, which is above a kind of business mind, to be entrepreneurs, to be surgeons, to be a women of substance. I think we have Ritika here, who's fitting into a woman of substance. And let's hear her now, making a mark in the field of ophthalmology.
Thank you, Dr. Aarti, and thank you, Dr. Sreeni, for this invitation. And I think it's a privilege to share this platform with Dr. Namrata, who has been my role model and guide from my early formative years. To have a woman stand up in a man's world or the real world is what I think inspires me. And I told Dr. Sreeni that I am a little brutal and honest in my talk. So apologies for any controversial views, but this is basically my set of beliefs coming from the experience that I have had in my life so far. So here are my top tips basis my experience. I hope that the journey is only just begun. So Dr. Sreeni did say that I do give credit to my husband as my support system and my father as my inspiration. But I think women should give credit to themselves. The journey starts from inside you, and what you achieve is a function of your effort. Others are your support system, and we do acknowledge them. But the first person you must acknowledge is yourself. So with this, I acknowledge my journey through places, some of which have nurtured me, some of which have tested me, but nonetheless have made me who I am. So this is my set of beliefs, which possibly shapes my behavior today. So taking you over my journey, I started my ophthalmic journey with post-graduation in Maulana Azad Medical College. I was a surgeon I wasn't a bad surgeon, but I was a timid surgeon. I was looking for perfection. Every time I had a PCR, I would cry my heart out that I did not give the best to this patient. My co-PG, a male, if he had a PCR, he would put an IOL, it would drop in the vitreous, he would put an IOL in the sulcus and come out and say, wow, I did a splendid job. So what really happened is that a perception was built that she is possibly doesn't have the guts to be a real surgeon. I was looking for perfection, but that was pulling me back. I was fortunate that I did move on from my post-graduation to my SR, and I will narrate that instant also. But effectively, I'll tell you from where it started. As a third semester, I was offered to do a phaco case out of the blue by the head of the unit. I hadn't read enough about phaco. So I requested the unit head that, sir, can you please give me a case in the next OT? I would like to read everything about it before I operate on a patient's eye. The same case was offered to my male counterpart. He knew less about phaco than me, but he took the opportunity. So this was my mindset in my postgraduate years. I would not say my hands changed, but my mindset changed, which is what helped me evolve as a surgeon and as a person. Now, though I can articulate this in my experience, I think this thought process is best articulated by my favorite TED Talk. I am just playing about 2 minutes of it, which is basically a talk on how the mindset matters. It is very easy for women to adopt roles of followers, but it is when you want to be a leader that you have to be recognized by not only yourself, your peers, and you have to have the mindset to create that leadership zone or aura around you. So just hear this out. It is one of my favorite talks.
Most girls are taught to avoid risk and failure. They're taught to smile pretty, play it safe, get all A's. Boys, on the other hand, are taught to play rough, swing high, crawl to the top of the monkey bars, and then just jump off head first. And by the time they're adults, whether they're negotiating a raise or even asking someone out on a date, they're habituated to take risk after risk. they're rewarded for it. In the 1980s, psychologist Carol Dweck looked at how bright fifth graders handled an assignment that was too difficult for them. She found that bright girls were quick to give up. The higher the IQ, the more likely they were to give up. Bright boys, on the other hand, found the difficult material to be a challenge. They found it energizing. They were more likely to redouble their efforts. My friend Lev Bree, who's a professor at the University of Columbia and teaches Intro to Java, tells me about his office hours with computer science students. When the guys are struggling with an assignment, they'll come in and they'll say, "Professor, there's something wrong with my code." The girls will come in and say, "Professor, there's something wrong with me." What's going on? Well, at the fifth grade level, girls routinely outperform boys in every subject, including math and science. So it's not a question of ability. The difference is in how boys and girls approach a challenge. And it doesn't just end in fifth grade. An HP report found that men will apply for a job if they meet only 60% of the qualifications. But women? Women will apply only if they meet 100% of the qualifications. In other words, we're raising our girls to be perfect, and we're raising our boys to be brave. The bravery deficit is why women are underrepresented in STEM, in C-suites, in boardrooms, in Congress, and pretty much everywhere you look. We have to socialize our girls to be comfortable with imperfection, and we gotta do it now. We have to teach them to be brave in schools and early in their careers when it has the most potential to impact their lives and the lives of others. And we have to show them that they will be loved and accepted, not for being perfect, but for being courageous.
So this really is what changed my life. I mean, I saw this video much later, but it really articulated the change in mindset that I felt helped me evolve. I was no longer in the quest for perfection because that was pulling me down. You don't reach perfection in a day. You have to be courageous to take steps towards being perfect. And to this, I would attribute the gratitude to RP Center AIMS. A lot of people, my father was very insistent that I go to AIMS from Maulana Azad Medical College. I was in a comfort zone at Maulana Azad. He said, you will feel the difference when you go there. And AIMS taught me only one thing, dar ke aage jeet hai. Beyond fear, you explore your capabilities. And this is the one thing for which even when I pass by AIMS, I think my head bows down, not because it taught me to learn how to do FACO. It taught me that I can lead in whatever I choose to lead in. So that really is, I think, the mindset that women need to adapt. We may be better surgeons, but it is not a skill of the hand. It is a skill of the mind as well, which is where sometimes we fail ourselves. There is a very popular book called Lean In, which basically says that women sometimes think too much before grabbing opportunity. This is sometimes true. You cannot be in the background. You can keep doing good work, but you have to be noticed. So what happened at Center for Sight was that one fine day, the sales department, which I really didn't know much about, the sales head was leaving. And my father asked me, are you willing to do it? I said, yes. And I said yes without thinking that, am I, sure I'll handle it, etc., because you learn by doing. And that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. After being more than a decade of a pure clinician, I took the leap of faith almost instinctively because through the last decade, I had built this confidence in myself that you have to grab opportunities. They do not fall into your lap. You can be a background follower all your life. It's a very easy role to get. Nobody will challenge you. I do also think that though you may feel positions, authority are not as relevant, they give you the power to create impact. They give you the control to control your ecosystem, develop a better ecosystem for others. So I would encourage everybody to really think higher. A background noise and a front end presence are two different things. And I mean, I think it is, once you get into the front end, it is a beautiful journey if you do have the leadership mindset, and you will enjoy it. But know that when you have to raise your hand, please do keep it raised. I'll give you another example. There was a study that was done that there was a guest speaker who said that was taking questions, and the guest speaker said, I will take only 2 more questions. After the 2 questions, all the women put their hand down, but the men still kept their hand up. And the guest speaker took 2 more questions. So men sometimes do understand the concept of grabbing opportunity better than women. Though this is a generalization, but it has been proven by studies. And I think this is the mindset that RPC gave us, that you must grab opportunities, which is why I feel that RPC is a great place and a mecca for developing leaders. And my gratitude for that alma mater remains throughout my life. Now, as a woman, we've all talked about juggling many roles. But when you ask a juggler, how do you juggle 3 balls so easily? The juggler will say simply, learn to juggle 4. Then juggling 3 looks easy. So I would recommend pack your life in first, then prioritize. You may start with 4, but you may be able to keep 3. But when you have 4 balls, you'll know what 3 you want to choose. That may be your family, that may be your career, that may be leadership. But juggling is something that gets easier when you pack it in. I would say that a spouse is a very crucial support system. I married my husband, who was my classmate from school. He had seen my aspiration from a very young age, that I was the hardest working student in school. And he kept telling me that you worked double as hard as me in school. You cannot ever work half as me, because when you build such a strong foundation, you must reap the benefits. And I think when my father asked me, why would you want to marry him? He's not a doctor, but I hope he's not hearing this. But because he'll feel that, I'm acknowledging him too much. I've never acknowledged him as much. But when my father asked him, why do you want to marry him? I simply said that he is one person who will always allow me to run my own race. I had that faith in him, and he kept my faith. And that really does help. I do believe that having a child does nourish your life in great ways. But I wanted to have a child before I was 30. I wanted to have a child after I had done 500 FACOs. I wanted to have a child in the last 6 months of my senior residency, so that I don't have to come back and face that lag. So I had a radiologist friend. She said, Turet, you have made your timetable. When is your baby being born? So I had planned for my baby to be born in, I think, February. He was born in April. But it was the last 6 months of my senior residency that I missed. I had strategically from the very beginning planned it and kept all my retina postings towards the end, because I knew I wanted to be a cataract, cornea, and refractive surgeon. I had maximized my phaco training. So I think there is a lot of planning that sometimes goes in, but do remember, not all falls into planning. So do plan, but you should also have a plan B. And life is not always about making plan A work, but also about making plan B work. I would also like to make a comment here that when you plan your career, money does matter. Money is the fuel for your growth. Whether you want to expand on equipment, whether you want to invest in staff, whether you treat it as a personal scorecard, whether you use it to go for international conferences. So this is a personal scorecard, a professional scorecard. It is the fuel for your growth. If you are doing something you love and not making money out of it, it is a hobby. It becomes a viable business that can sustain itself, support others, and give you growth only if you make money. Financial literacy is a significant gap among men and women. So this is something, during COVID, I took a finance course. I was the only woman in the course, but I enjoyed it greatly. And I think I realized that there is just this aptitude that we don't build from an early age. But financial literacy is something that really helps you take control and measure your growth and really expand on your growth and amplify it. I do hear a lot of people saying that it's not easy to make it in India. You are very fortunate, and we are very fortunate to have domestic help. Sometimes our fellows say that, we can't afford domestic help. Today, the salary of a senior resident, even in RPC, is, I think, close to 1 lakh. If you add 4 domestic helps, it doesn't get you there. So it is how you choose to invest. You have to delegate some of the chores at home, which are not as important. Possibly, the only thing I really do at home is teach my son, because that is something that I would want to do and he would want to do with me. But I have never bothered about the cleaning, the fridge, the cooking in the house. You prioritize it and you delegate it. What you want to delegate depends on your passion. And that is something that really helps, particularly it's an advantage being in a country like ours. So that is, in fact, one of my professors in MAMC said, never learn how to cook. Because if they find out you learn how to cook, you'll spend 1 hour a day doing that. But nonetheless, I think some people find cooking therapeutic. I never did. But prioritize what you want to do and delegate the rest. This is a truth, actually. When you move from a follower to a leader role, often success and likability are correlated in men and inversely correlated in women. People do feel that a woman wants it all. She is overambitious, aggressive, maybe, many, many things. I experienced this very early. In my MD years, I was one of the first postgraduates to get my paper thesis accepted in the American Academy. And one of the faculty said, this girl wants too much on her plate. So this was something that is there. I think truly, when Dr. Namrata has been such a pioneer in the election, I mean, she is looked at everybody that she has so many posts. There have been other men who have held as many. But I think a woman is just singled out a lot more. For that, I don't think that's something that we can change. But what is most important is that you validate yourself. You cannot always keep on looking at people to validate you as the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect ophthalmologist, the perfect leader. Definitely be open to feedback. But as women, you may get into this spiral down of not being perfect, which is something that I think also over a period of time, my difference in my 30s and 40s is my degree of self-assurance has gone up, which allows me to take greater challenges. Like I said, your personal world is your cocoon. It comes to you with a place where there is no authority. It is just about support and love. And though I would not call it work-life balance, but this is your small piece of heaven. So this is what sometimes keeps you going. It doesn't matter the amount of time, but just the presence of your personal world, I think, is a great source of strength. At the risk of saying this, homophily hampers growth. That means you tend to associate with people who are similar to you. And in a social network, homophily is a disadvantage. Do you know what is the most common type of homophily? Gender-based. Women sticking to women. Most of my friends, actually, and professional friends are men. I think it helped my mindset. Men sometimes, like I said, take bigger risks. Not that women don't, but to restrict yourself in a minority to a group which thinks similarly, maybe focusing more on your obstacles. It always helps to have a more diverse network to help you grow. Homophily helps only the majority and the leaders because they can create a majority, right? Or they can create a monopoly. Homophily, classically, through social experiments, is not something that promotes minority interest because it actually sidelines you from the mainstream. So I would definitely recommend that you'll find great women mentors, but men make great mentors too. And they bring a complementary mindset to you and sometimes help you bring in a different thought process. So don't isolate yourself. Men make great friends and professional colleagues, and they should be a significant part of your circle. I also feel that I developed a network beyond medicine. which allowed me to explore and be more, which is in a very dynamic world, it is a significant need as an entrepreneur to really understand the nuances, right from finance to digital marketing, to how to manage a team, to be very minute things from which you can learn from experience of others. So definitely explore and be more through conferences, through courses, and whatever you choose to do. In the end, I think I'd just like to say that everybody has their own journey. My life's mantra is, it's one life, make it large. So life is really too short to wake up with regrets. Love the people that treat you right. Forget about the ones that don't. Believe everything happens for a reason. If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said it'll be easy, but they just promise it'll be worth it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ritika. Wonderful presentation. My wife, Priya, was here. She was really, really impressed. And you just made a comment about Dr. Namrata being appreciated for all that she has achieved because she is a woman. No, Ritika, like...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a lot of people feel that, like I was said, that you have too much. There are men who've had as much. Why should women not have much? Should have 10
India, no male in India has achieved as much as... I'm not telling because ma'am is here. Nobody has achieved as much as what Dr. Namrata has achieved. And also, you comment on Aarti Center. Two interesting things. My teacher from Shankara, from junior residency in my life in Aarti Center was a struggle. I always wanted Pakistan to come and bomb off Aarti Center because when my life with Dr. Lalit was, I keep telling him also, was so difficult. And he used to tell me, actually, like when you come out, you really realize how much RPC has helped you. And another interesting, like my teacher from Shankara, Dr. J.K. Reddy, I'm surgeon because of Sarun. He once asked me, Sreeni, do they teach politics also along with ophthalmology? See, like, it's not just, RPC actually teaches you to grab your opportunities. They make you, it's a different feel altogether there. Dr. Aarti, and we have not listened to any of the panelists from Kerala. Dr. Aarti?
Yeah. Okay, I would say a wonderful presentation, Ritika.
Yeah.
And I think it opens horizons for all women to think that, you need to leave a positive impact. You need to earn, of course, and you need to not sacrifice your personal chores and your personal life, priorities. I guess a great balance is very, very important. And I think one thing which is the mantra of success is to be at the right time, at the right place, and do it your way. So if you are given all those yes to whatever you want to do, you are an entrepreneur, you need to be a financially very independent person, you need to understand the balance sheet, and you need to play different roles as an admin, clinician, a woman who would keep, getting more skilled. So I guess, I think all the speakers, and I would congratulate Dr. Sreeni, you for having this platform to showcase that there are different ways to achieve success. The mantra or the phrase which we keep hearing to make us motivated is the fact that we need to be persistent and we need to leave, our mark or our signature style and with our skill and freedom to do what we want to do. I think I would just say that looking forward to, women really reaching up the pedestal more, as Dr. Namrata is one example in front of us. And I feel she, being such a successful woman, is so modest. And also the fact that, I would say she has sacrificed enough. She is, I know she's looking after her ailing parents. I know her daughter is achieved the best. I know her husband is a very hardcore and a very, very successful cardiologist. But she doesn't let anything brush over her own acumen, which is what she decided, to be ambitious, to be there where men dream to be there, and she achieved it all. I guess with this, I would say thanks for having invited us here. And WOS, I would say, which I rightly took that point of homophily, that yes, being with co-women is only not being with minority. Today we are a majority. It's just that being together, holding each other's hands, to be existing and having to explore each woman, to achieve their bestest, is to create these programs. And it's just a different way of thinking, being in a society where men can be, just assigned to their own center excellence. There's a little bit of second generation coming and third generation coming in. So achievement for everybody and success story is different. But the fact is that today, I think women have started thinking differently, that they can be leaders. So I guess we've achieved somewhere there.
Dr. Aarti, let's hear what Dr. Sinmol, you want something?
Being a medical college teacher, again, nowadays, number of girls coming to our profession is increased so much. Boys are actually 1/3 or 1/4. So not only in ophthalmology, in all other fields, we have to be the leaders now. And then I like that message given by Dr. Ritika. Courage is better than perfection. Thank you for that. And thank you for being with Namrata ma'am, who is a living legend and a role model for all of us all over the world, and everybody else. And about Leila ma'am, I know her personally so many years, and I always wonder how she keeps her smile always so calm and composed. And I would like to know the secret behind that also, ma'am.
Ritika?
Yes, Sreeni.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm really privileged to be in this August gathering, especially with role models like Namrata Madam and Leila Madam. Thank you for the opportunity. Everything that I heard today are eye-openers in one way or the other about WOS. About WOS, but everything else that was discussed about the challenges women face are very, very relatable. And I can very well understand what was said in the beginning, and that globally it's the same story, because whatever was said by the multiple speakers here, they all seem like glimpses of one's own life when we pass through different phases of life. So it is relatable to everybody. And now, personally, coming at this point of time, it has been very useful to me, because I'm heading a department with many young ladies, aspiring ladies, talented ophthalmologists, and I'm sure that this sort of interaction itself, the sort of dynamic interaction with the top-notch women ophthalmologists of the country will surely, I will try to pass on these messages and make sure that I can, create more opportunities for the young women in my department also. So thank you so much for the opportunity. If there is one message I would like to add, it is from my life. It is just that what is extremely important and what I consider success is to understand oneself quite early on. The more early you understand ourselves, the better you will be able to plan your life to where you want to go. Somebody else's success is not your success. So even though Namrata Madam here may be a great role model or an inspirational person, in the early years of my ophthalmology career, I used to confuse this with, being like my role model or being like an inspirational person. It can be quite disappointing. So it's very important to know who you are, what you want, and to, plan your entire career ahead. And don't ditch yourself on the way. Means you have to be perseverant and you have to hold on there. There may be setbacks in the temporary time frame, but you have to hold on to what you actually believe in. Everybody has different passions, different professional success, goals also. So it's important to know that and not be deterred by somebody else's success stories. But of course, you can learn from them, but they are not what should define you as a person or a profession. So that is all I need to add, I think.
Great message, Ritika. And two lines from Raki on from a very young woman's perspective, and final words from Namrata ma'am, and then we'll finish the session. Raki?
Yeah, all the talks here today were very inspiring, especially for a young ophthalmologist who is actually facing the career dilemmas in this situation at present. So about WOS, I would like to say, actually, I was unaware of many of the programs. All these programs are very unique, and it's all a very great opportunity for all the young ophthalmologists, especially people like us who are juggling with family life, personal life, and career goals. So these platforms are wonderful, ma'am, and I'm sure as we become aware of this, we'll try to make out the maximum of all those unique programs you have with you. And about Ritika ma'am's talk, it was like listening to a TED talk. Actually, it was one of the most inspiring talk. I was boosted up. I should also do that. Should also be like this, because what she said, I was also like that. I was a timid surgeon, and my male colleague used to purposefully create PC rents to learn anterior vitrectomy. Me, on the other hand, used to be very safe surgeon. I was like, I should not create any PCR anywhere, but he used to purposefully create, like straight ahead, he'll go and just put a nick in the PC just to learn anterior vitrectomy. So, but now he is a great surgeon. He's doing very well. But that is the problem with ladies. We are like very afraid to take up challenges. We are very afraid to move further, to learn the next step. So these talks were really inspiring. Especially, I would like to thank Sreeni sir for putting up this platform for us. It was great. And about Namrata ma'am, no words. I'm a fangirl of hers. Only one thing I would like to ask Namrata ma'am is, like, you are holding many positions and you have very hectic schedule. But and I know that you have very strict timetable for yourself itself. I've heard of it. So how do you keep up without being burned out? Like without that fire is still burning within you, with your mental peace still being at the same level? How do you keep yourself all these years?
I think your work only inspires you to do more. So sometimes I think that I take a lot of risk. When people tell me to do something, I'll say yes, and I won't know where I'm going to start and how am I going to do it. So that thing has remained, I think, right from the very beginning. Say yes first, commit to yourself first, and then think of, how to do it. I have seen that sometimes when you tell people to do something, they will be like, what is on my plate, whether I can take it or not. Because I know that if you commit to yourself, you say yes, then you do it to fulfill that commitment in your own eyes. You do it for your own name, for your own prestige, because you have said yes to it. So I think first you have to very impulsively say yes to everything and to yourself. And when things happen, I mean, the adrenaline rush is so much that it just exponentially multiplies. I think that is the way it goes. Sometimes the mind is so active that you can't get sleep only because your mind is never off. It doesn't switch off. I mean, you have to make an effort to switch it off and not think of so many things which are happening. But I think it just happens. Like I said, at times, when you're impulsive, you just make it happen. You find time for it.
And thank you, Dr. Swati, also for opening so many platforms for young ophthalmologists. Her presentation was also very helpful. I also not aware of all those things.
Dr. Aarti, can you just summarize and conclude?
I think everybody's spoken their bit in the bestest, the showcase of their views. Each individual woman is what she is, as individual as the vision we give to every patient. So I guess our very rightly said that, you need to understand yourself first. Your success story will be made by you. So support system, the societies, they all can come together in this field of ever emerging skills and equipment. But I guess the young ophthalmologists can take the opportunity in any society, be it the AIOS, the DOS, and keep presenting, keep documenting, keep improving your skills. And I think take risks. You need to take the risks, and you need to have mentors, also have support systems. So I think we've summarized it all. It's not about gender. It's about being persistent. It's about being skilled. It's about being a multitasker, an entrepreneur, a business head, a finance training as Ritika took. So I guess we need to be a package deal. So this is where I feel women, men together can make it happen.
Yeah, thank you, Will. It's been 2 hours of wonderful knowledge, experience sharing. It was wonderful. I thank WOS for helping KSOS out with this program. Namrata ma'am, thanks a lot. All my colleagues from KSOS. We will end this program now. We wish to have similar programs in the future. We can have experience sharing from other super achiever ophthalmologists, women ophthalmologists from India. I mean, I just planned it as part 1 of the program because I have some people in mind, but unluckily they are in the election, so that's why so I'll if I can have the help from you to have similar programs in the future with others, we'll be very grateful.